Ever feel like you're talking to a brick wall? Like, especially when you're trying to, connect with your partner.
Yeah.
It's like you're speaking English and they're speaking Martian, right? Well, that's kind of what John Gray's book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, is all about. It's been a huge eye opener for me personally. Seriously, it's like I finally have a decoder ring for relationships.
Okay.
So the book starts off with this metaphor: men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And honestly, it's so simple, but it explains so much about why we just, clash sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not that we're trying to drive each other crazy on purpose or anything. It's more like we just have different operating systems. Like, I remember this one time I was having a totally awful day at work, right? And all I wanted was for my boyfriend to just listen, like just listen.
Yeah.
But instead, he immediately went into problem-solving mode, offering all these solutions I didn't even want. It was infuriating. And according to Gray, this is a classic Mars-Venus scenario. You see, Martians, they're all about independence and fixing things. So when they see someone struggling, their instinct is to jump in and offer a solution, right? It's their way of showing they care, even if it comes across as a little insensitive sometimes. It's like that time my brother got completely lost on this road trip and absolutely refused to ask for directions. He literally spent hours driving in circles just to prove he could figure it out himself. It was a whole thing. But the point is, it's not about being stubborn, really. It's about that deep-seated need for autonomy. Now, Venusians, on the other hand, we thrive on connection and expressing emotions. Like, for us, talking about our problems, us the solution. It's how we process things, and how we feel supported. And yeah, sometimes we might not even be looking for a solution at all. We just want to feel heard and understood. So you can see how this sets the stage for some serious misunderstandings. The Martian's trying to be helpful. The Venusian feels ignored and uncared for. It's a recipe for disaster. And the worst part is we often don't even realize what's happening, right? We just assume the other person's being difficult or inconsiderate, when in reality, we're just speaking completely different languages. One of the most fascinating things I learned from this book is this whole concept of men being like rubber bands. Like, they need to pull away to regain their sense of independence before they can come back and be fully present in a relationship. And this makes so much sense when I think about my own experiences. There have been times when, like, my boyfriend would get really quiet and withdrawn, and I would totally take it personally, thinking he was losing interest or something. But Grace says this is just how men recharge. They need that time alone to, process their emotions and reconnect with themselves. And here's where it gets really interesting. Women often misinterpret this need for space as rejection. We think he's pulling away. He doesn't care about me anymore. But that's not it at all. It's just his Martian way of dealing with stress and maintaining his sense of autonomy. And honestly, I think this is one of the biggest sources of conflict in relationships, period. We women crave closeness and intimacy, right? And when our partner pulls away, it triggers all these insecurities. But if we can understand that it's not about us, that it's just his way of coping, it can make a world of difference. Okay, buckle up, because this next part is a total game changer. Gray talks about how men and women literally score points in relationships. But here's the thing. We score differently. For women, every act of love is equal. It's about the accumulation of all those little gestures, the thoughtfulness, the emotional support. But for men, each act of appreciation from a woman earns a point. It's about feeling valued and respected. So imagine this. A husband works late, thinking he's earning major points by providing financially. But his wife feels neglected because he's not spending quality time with her. In her mind, he's not scoring any points at all, even though he's putting in the effort in his own way. See the disconnect? And then there's this whole thing about penalty points, which, let me tell you, are relationship killers. It's like you do something nice for your partner, but they bring up a past mistake and just negate all your efforts. Ouch, right? Gray really emphasizes that this whole scorekeeping mentality is toxic. It creates resentment and misunderstanding. Instead, we need to focus on understanding each other's needs and appreciating the different ways we express love.
Wow.
And you know what? This whole scorekeeping thing goes even deeper, because sometimes those old emotional wounds from childhood can resurface and just, mess with our present relationships. Like you think you've moved on, but then bam, something small triggers a major meltdown. And you're not just reacting to the present situation, you're reacting to all that unresolved baggage from the past. Gray calls this the 90-10 principle, where 90% of our upset is actually rooted in our past experiences. Like this one time, I totally lost it on my boyfriend because he forgot to pick up the dry cleaning. I mean, it was such a minor thing, but I blew it way out of proportion. And later, I realized it wasn't really about the dry cleaning at all. It was about feeling unimportant and unappreciated, which stemmed from some childhood stuff I hadn't fully dealt with. It's the whole aha moment. So, okay, we've got these Martians and Venusians running around speaking different languages, keeping score, and dragging their emotional baggage everywhere. What do we do about it? Well, first, we got to understand it, right? We need to recognize that men and women are wired differently, and that's okay. It's not about stereotyping. It's about developing compassion and tolerance for each other's, quirks. And then we need to learn how to communicate effectively. And guess what? Gray has a tool for that too. It's called the love letter technique. Now, before you picture me scribbling sonnets by candlelight, it's not that literal. The love letter technique is about expressing your feelings in a safe and constructive way without blaming or attacking your partner. It's about putting your thoughts and emotions down on paper so you can communicate clearly and avoid those nasty arguments that spiral out of control. It's like a relationship lifesaver. And let's be real, sometimes we need more than just a love letter, right? We need professional help to sort through all this relationship stuff. And that's okay too. Gray suggests therapy or support groups as a way to heal past wounds and learn better communication skills. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of commitment to making the relationship work. You know what? One of the things that really stuck with me is this idea that men sometimes need time to process their emotions. They go into their cave and we might feel ignored, but it's not about us. It's about them needing space to figure things out. And apparently, women can help by offering reassurance that we're not going anywhere. Like, hey, I know you need some time, but I'll be here when you're ready to talk.
It's a simple gesture, but it can make a world of difference. Who knew, right? Okay, so we've talked about how men and women, they're basically from different planets, right? But it goes deeper than just needing space or wanting to talk things out. Gray says we literally speak different languages. Like the way our brains are wired for communication, it's fundamentally different. Think about it, women. We process emotions by talking about them. It's like thinking out loud, right? But men, they need to mull things over in their heads before they're ready to share, So picture this. You're pouring your heart out to your guy, and he just sits there, totally silent. You're thinking, he's not listening, he doesn't care.
But he might actually be processing everything, just in his own, Martian way. And here's another thing that totally blew my mind. Apparently, men hate to be pitied. They want empathy, not sympathy. So when you say something like, oh, honey, I'm so sorry you're going through this, it can totally backfire. It's like it undermines their sense of competence, makes them feel like they can't handle it, which honestly makes so much sense when you think about it. Like, who wants to feel like they're being babied, right? So how do we bridge this communication gap? Well, Gray suggests women learn to express their feelings directly, respectfully, and without, blaming or criticizing. And men, they need to learn to listen without offering solutions unless they're specifically asked for. It's like instead of jumping in with, you should just quit that job, try something like, wow, that sounds really stressful. What can I do to support you? It's about validating their feelings, showing you care, even if you don't have all the answers. And ladies, I got a little secret weapon for you. When you want to ask your man for something, be direct and use, like, would you or will you phrases. Apparently those magic words get a much better response than could you or can you. It's like, instead of could you take out the trash, try, would you please take out the trash? Yeah. It sounds like a small thing, but it frames the request in a way that empowers him, Now, I know all this sounds like a lot of work, and honestly, it is. Relationships take effort, especially when you're dealing with these, fundamental Mars-Venus differences. But Gray says love is seasonal. There will be times when it's, easy, effortless, like springtime. But there will also be times when it's more challenging, like summer, when you need to put in the work to keep things growing. And sometimes there will be those winter periods where it feels like everything is, dormant. But that doesn't mean love is dead. It just means it's time to nurture those roots and wait for the spring to return. And that's where this book is so helpful. It gives you the tools to navigate those different seasons. It helps you understand why your partner is acting the way they are. And it gives you practical strategies for communicating effectively and meeting each other's needs. It's not about changing who you are. It's about learning to appreciate and respect your differences. And that, my friends, is the key to, keeping the magic of love alive. One thing that really hit home for me was this idea of emotional house cleaning. Like sometimes we need to go deep and process those old hurts and insecurities that are weighing us down. And it's not always pretty, right? It can bring up a lot of painful stuff. But Gray says it's essential for personal growth and for building healthy relationships. It's like you can't just sweep those negative emotions under the rug forever. Eventually they'll come out, and it's better to deal with them consciously than to let them sabotage your happiness. And, sometimes we need help with that emotional house cleaning. Like we need a therapist or a support group to help us work through those tough emotions. And that's okay. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength and self-awareness. It's like admitting you need help is the first step to getting better, right? And get this, Grace says that when a man loves a woman, he actually wants to be needed by her.
But here's the catch. He doesn't want to feel neediness. It's like he wants to be her hero, not her therapist. So ladies, when you're asking for support, it's about finding that balance between expressing your needs and trusting him to meet them. It's about being vulnerable without being desperate. And guys, when your woman is going through one of those emotional downturns, try not to take it personally. It's not about you. It's about her needing to process her feelings. So instead of offering solutions or trying to fix her, just listen with empathy and offer reassurance. Let her know that you're there for her, that you care, and that you're not going anywhere. It's about being a safe haven, a place where she can, let down her guard and just be herself. All right, so we've talked about communication, about emotional baggage, about the need for space and the desire for connection. It's a lot to unpack, right? But Gray doesn't stop there. He goes on to talk about how men and women, they express anger differently. Like when a man gets angry, he tends to become more assertive, even aggressive. But for a woman, her anger often comes out as sadness or withdrawal.
It's like she turns her anger inward. And that can be really confusing for a guy who's used to those, more direct Martian expressions of anger. So how do we deal with anger in a healthy way? Well, Gray suggests that men learn to listen to a woman's sadness without feeling blamed. It's not about him, it's about her needing to express her feelings. And women, we need to learn to communicate our anger in a way that doesn't, make him feel attacked. Like instead of saying, you're always so insensitive, try saying, when you do this, it makes me feel hurt and unimportant. It's about focusing on the behavior, not the person. One of the things I found super helpful was this idea that we all have different emotional needs. Like men primarily need trust, acceptance, appreciation, admiration, approval, and encouragement. Whereas women need caring, understanding, respect, devotion, validation, and reassurance. It's like we're speaking different love languages and we need to learn to speak each other's language if we want to feel truly loved and appreciated. Thinking back to all those arguments I had with my ex.
I realize now we were probably just speaking totally different languages. Like I was looking for validation and reassurance, and he was stuck in problem-solving mode. It's like we were both trying to win the game, but playing by totally different rules. And neither of us was wrong, really. We were just, wired differently. And that's okay. It's about recognizing those differences and finding ways to bridge the gap. So what does this all mean for you? If you're, feeling frustrated or misunderstood in your relationships, try looking at it through this Mars-Venus lens, right? Maybe you're speaking different languages, or maybe you're just in different seasons of love. The important thing is to keep communicating, keep learning, and keep growing together. It's not always easy, but it's definitely worth the effort, because at the end of the day, love is the most amazing journey you'll ever take. And having this Mars-Venus map can make all the difference.